Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crocheting Coffee here. And today we're doing our whip and chat. So get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. I am still working on Where Fun Never Ends by Diamond Art Club and Mandy Manzano. It has been a week, y'all. Look, listen. We're going to talk about updates on the ferrets and the dogs and the kids and Mr. Coffee and I. So I hope you guys are ready for some coffee house stories. So get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. If I didn't already say it, I might have. But WIP stands for work in progress. So get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. So let's start off with the ferrets because I know everybody's been asking how the ferrets are doing. Currently, they're running around my craft room. Don't worry. We're working on potty training. They're not 100% potty trained yet, but there's literally like my floor in my craft room is covered in potty pads. It's like having a puppy. It's like having two little babies in the house. Now, we have two different personalities from my ferrets that we've already gotten out of them. Like we can tell their personalities already. We have Gumball, who is the cute, cuddly one. He loves to sit in your lap. He will reach up for you like a baby whenever he's tired so that you can cradle him and rock him to sleep. And then you have Anais. Anais chooses violence every day. She wakes up and chooses violence. So yesterday, they had their first vet visit. Everything went great. The doctor said that Gumball had a little bit of extra earwax in his ear, so she was wanting me to get that cleaned out. So she gave me some solution to put in his ear once a day. You just put a drop in his ear and it helps get rid of the earwax in his ear. And she said to go ahead and I could use it on Anais as well so that they don't have any problems with their ears. So I was like, all right, cool, bet. Look, that cost me $154. Good God. So they got a clean bill of health, which is priceless. And so I'm so happy to hear that because I was hearing so many negative things about ferrets and their health. And I know it's only their first visit, but it was nice to hear that they're happy and healthy. And they weigh about 1 pound, 22 ounces. So they're teeny tiny. Also, okay, somebody else tell me if you do this, okay? Because Orion was trying to make me out like I was crazy or something. And I know I'm not the only person that does this. You ever been in a car? Because the vet office is somewhere I haven't been before. So we were on our way to the vet's office and my GPS was telling me to turn down 139th Street. But the street that it was telling me to turn on wasn't 139, it was 48. And I'm sitting there like, okay, look, I don't math, but I'm pretty sure, like I'm stopped in the middle of the road going, I don't math, but I'm pretty sure that says 48 and not 139, but it's telling me to turn down here. Me, of course, being like, I'm smarter than the GPS. I'm not going to turn down there. One, because it said 48 and not 139. And two, I had to hurry up and keep going because there was a tractor coming. So I just mosey on down the road. It's like, make a U-turn. Does anybody else feel like sometimes your GPS gets a little snippy with you? Like when it tells you to do something and you don't do it? It's like the first couple of times it's like, make a U-turn here. Make a freaking U-turn, dumbass. You got to turn around because you obviously going the wrong way. Well, I'm sitting there minding my own crafty motherfucking business. I had to turn the radio down so I could see where I was going. Anybody ever do that? You ever turn the radio down so you can see where you're going? Yeah, let that sit for a second. So I turned the radio down so I can see where I'm going. And Orion's just like, Mom, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I need to see where I'm going, so I got to turn this radio down real quick. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I got to turn the radio down so I can see where I'm going. Look, listen, we all do it. Don't act like I'm the only person that turns the radio down so you can see where you're going. Okay, I see I see two little escape artists. If I pause, I'm sorry. Like I said, the ferrets are running around the craft room and I have everything blocked off, but they find a way to get into places that they're not supposed to be. So anyways, so we finally did make it and I find out that I could have saved myself 5 minutes if I would have taken the road it told me to take. Look, listen to your GPS. It knows what it's talking about, okay? Even if she cops attitude with you, you can fuss at her later, but you listen to what she's saying because she obviously knows where she's going. Anyways, so like I said, the ferrets got a clean bill of health, so they're doing great. Like I said, they're currently running around my craft room playing because since the kids are not here, they will get to play all throughout the day while the kids aren't here, and then they'll play some more when the kids get home. So yes, I'm excited to hear about the kids' first day of school. They did go off to school this morning. No, I'm not okay. Don't worry about it. I'll be fine after a while, but it's taking me some time to get used to. Part of the bipolar disorder is paranoia and a severe attachment to things. So I get severely attached to things really quickly. The fact that they're gone, and it's the first time I've been away from my kids for almost 2 years. So Mama Bear's struggling a little bit. I'm struggling so hard, I locked myself out of the damn house today. Look, listen, I should not be unsupervised, okay? I've locked myself out of the house. I locked the dog out of the house. I go to walk the dogs this morning after I get back, and I'm in tears. I'm not gonna lie. I was crying after I dropped the kids off, and we came up with an arrangement that Mr. Coffee. Yeah, so if you hear that little bell, that's the ferrets playing. So I have one jumping at me. So I'm sitting there, and we made an arrangement that Mr. Coffee would take Orion to school because it's on that side of town that he has to leave to go to work on, and I would take Maggie, and then I pick them both up in the afternoon. So I'm excited to hear how their first day went. We went to orientation. Everything went fine. Orion's teacher, we try to explain to Orion's math teacher, okay? And we do this every year. We explain to the teachers a little bit about the kids. Hi, this is, we let the kids introduce themselves because they're old enough to talk, so you got to introduce yourself. So the teacher's like, who is this? And Orion was like, I'm Orion. And then he tells her what the square root of pi is. I don't know why Orion does the things he does. He's such an awkward little kid. And he just randomly, he goes, hi, I'm Orion. The square root of pi is 3.5 blah, 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 or 2 point whatever. And I'm just sitting there like, who are you? And Mr. Coffee's sitting there with this look of he's having a proud dad moment because, he's nerding out. And him and Orion get into a whatever about the square root of pi. And I pull the teacher aside, and I'm like, hi, my name is Miss Tepper. I am Orion's mom. Just to give you a little background on Orion, I'm like, he will be wearing a mask as I see nobody else is. If you could just make sure that nobody, messes with him about his mask. I'm like, he is a high risk of getting sick because he has severe asthma. And she's like, nobody will be making fun of anybody for wearing masks. She goes, honestly, more than likely in the next month or so, we're all going to probably be back in masks. And so she was like, so it's understandable. We will make sure that nobody says anything to him, blah, blah, blah. Now, Orion's in a school now where he has to change classes every period. So he now has class periods. And he's not used to that. And last year, he would have went to the elementary school, and they still didn't do that. So this is his first year having to change classes. I could tell he was a little nervous when he left this morning, but he seemed pretty excited when he got to school. I was a little sad to find out that his friend, that the one little kid that we kidnapped over the summer to go to the Badlands with us, he won't be going to school with him this year, because where he lives at now is out of the zone for the school that Orion's going to. So the other kid is going to a different school. I was a little sad to hear that, but Orion was excited because he got to meet new people, make new friends. Both kids are excited about making new friends. Orion was more so excited because his math class has a lab in the back of it, and he's just like, I'm here for it, I'm ready. And the teacher's like, and I'm explaining to the teacher, Orion's special. And I'm like, and when I mean special, I mean he's going to be more advanced. And before I could say anything else, she cuts me off, and she goes, all my children are special. Okay, I'm not trying to say the rest of your class isn't special or smart. What I'm trying to say is he's a special kind of special. I'm like, Orion's advanced for his age. And she goes, all my students are advanced. And I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying. And she goes, no, this is an advanced math class. And I was like, oh, really? I'm like, awesome. So he will fit in perfectly fine. He's in an advanced math class. She goes, we were warned about him. I'm like, you were what? Apparently his teachers from his elementary school had let his current math teacher know that Orion was a special type of kid. And so she already knew who Orion was. And she goes, oh yeah, he's infamous. We've been all begging to have him in our class because we want to see how smart he is. And I'm like, oh. Well, bless you. That's ferret sneezes. And I'm like, oh, okay. Mr. Coffee's looking. He goes, hold up. What do you mean? She goes, oh, we were already told by the elementary school that we have a genius come into our class, and we got to pick and choose, you know, whose class he got to be in. And I was the lucky recipient of your son in my class. She goes, I will let you know this class is a little bit harder than a regular class. And she quizzed him on a question, something, a problem-solving question. Orion sat there for a minute, looked at her funny, and then gave her the answer. And she goes, oh, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun this year, dude. And I'm like, oh, sweet Lord, Orion has found his calling. So Orion, I'm not worried about him in school. The rest, he even has a technology class. And I'm like, is that like computer lab? And they're like, yes and no. We teach them all about different types of technology. And I was like, ooh, you're like that, Orion. So he has technology and science and language arts, and he likes his language arts teacher. I like his language arts teacher. So essentially all of his teachers are okay. The math teacher kind of came off a little like, I was like, oh, you're going to be the teacher I don't like. And then when she quizzed them on the question, I was just like, okay, all right, I might like you. I might like you. Like you get, you know, what I'm trying to jive at you. But the fact that I found out that he's in an advanced class made me a lot happier, because I think he'll be a lot happier in an advanced class. And then after spending like an hour going through the school, finding all his classes with him and helping him figure out how to open his locker, which only took him like one try. As long as he can remember his combination, he should be fine. But helping him figure out everything and how to navigate the school, he was fine. So we were like, all right, let's go over to Maggie's school. Now, Maggie only has one class and one teacher. And so her teacher is new to the school. So she introduces herself to Maggie. And Maggie goes, hi, my name is Maggie. I prefer to be called Maggie. And she goes, oh, well, that's great. Hold on. I don't think I have a Maggie in my class. And she goes, you do. My actual name is Magdalene, but I prefer to be called Maggie. And I was just like, yeah, just a heads up. She doesn't answer to her real name. We can't get her to answer to it. She essentially, she'll act like she doesn't know who you're talking to. And the teacher's like, oh, so you're going to be that student, huh? And she goes, and Maggie gives her like this little evil grin. I'm like, oh, you have no idea. I'm like, let me go over the ground rules with you of a Maggie and how it is to handle a Maggie. And she's like, a Maggie? I'm like, a Maggie. Maggie is a pronoun, a noun, all the things. Okay, she's all the things. She person, place, and thing. Like, she's all the things. And she's like, okay. She goes, so what do I need to know about little Maggie? And I'll go, she has epilepsy. And the thing I hate the worst is when I tell people about Maggie having epilepsy and they make that face like, oh, I'm like, she's fine. She's fine. She hasn't had a seizure in 2 years. She's fine. And so she's like, oh. And I'm like, don't, oh. I'm like, just a heads up. Don't tell her she's cute. Don't awe at her. Don't make her think that you like anything that she's doing, or she will manipulate you in the worst way. And she goes, oh no, I've been teaching for a little while now. And I'm like, okay, I don't think you've ever encountered a Maggie. So again, let me go over the ground rules of the Maggie. I'm like, Maggie she marches to the beat of her own drum. She does listen. She is very obedient. But if Maggie gets bored, do not let Maggie get bored. Maggie gets destructive when she is bored. She will write over her clothes. She will play with her hair. She will fake seizures. And she goes, hold up, what? I'm like, oh yeah, she is notorious for faking seizures when she doesn't want to do something. I'm like, the problem is, you can tell the difference between a real seizure and a fake seizure on how she acts after it. So when she falls to the ground, if she falls softly, she's faking. If she just falls to the ground, like she almost like it sounds like it hurts, then she's serious. I'm like, you can also tickle her. And if she doesn't respond to the tickle, it was a real seizure. If she does respond and she makes a smiley face or something, it's fake. I'm like, we've already had a talk with her. She's not supposed to fake seizures. She's like, I know I'm not supposed to fake a seizure. I'm like, can you please take it easy on this teacher? She is trying. Oh, hold on. Sorry, the ferrets chose violence on my shelf. So yeah, so the kids are, what was I talking about? I don't remember. But the kids are going to be doing good. I did notice that they are the only children wearing masks, which is fine with me as long as nobody says anything to them. They should be fine. And the teachers all assured me that they would be fine. Oh, we were talking about Maggie's class. So we went down the rundown with her teacher, you know, make sure she keeps her clothes on. And like everything I said to this woman, her eyes just got bigger and bigger. And she's just like, what? You could tell she's sitting there thinking, what the hell have I got myself into? I'm like, make sure she keeps her clothes on. Make sure she doesn't drink from the water fountain. She has a jug that she has in the side of her backpack that's for her to drink water out of if she would like to drink water. Make sure she doesn't come home with somebody else's shoes this year. And I looked at Maggie and she goes, hold up, what? I'm like, oh, a couple years ago, she came home with 2 left feet. And she goes, I guess I can't dance. And the lady starts laughing and she goes, oh, she's a riot. I'm like, oh yeah, she's hilarious. Seriously though, don't let her come home with somebody else's shoes on. And she goes, well, what happened there? I'm like, well, apparently there's another little girl in her class that had the exact same sparkle shoes that she had. And apparently they decided to trade shoes for the day. So they each traded 1 shoe, which was the wrong foot. So the little girl went home with 2 right feet and Maggie went home with 2 left feet. And needless to say, we had to meet the kid at the school the next day on a Saturday to get her shoe back. And she goes, oh. I'm like, yeah. Maggie's that kid. Maggie's going to be that kid for you. I'm like, I'm not even going to beat around the bush and try to pretend like my child is the most well-behaved child on the planet. I will tell you now, she can be ornery. I'm like, when she gets ornery, essentially just make sure you're firm with her, because if you don't, she will walk all over you. Yeah, good luck. And her teacher's just like, oh. And Maggie looks over and she goes, excuse me, ma'am, can I have some popcorn? Maggie was on her best behavior because that's what Maggie does. Maggie likes to pretend that she's this innocent angel. And I'm like, that angel is hiding horns. Don't let it fool you. It's a Maggie. I'm like, don't get me wrong. I'm like, Maggie's the sweetest little kid you'll ever meet. She's very affectionate. She loves hugs, which makes sure she doesn't hug anybody because, you know, panoramic. Her teacher starts laughing and she goes, yes, I'll make sure she doesn't hug anyone. I'm like, yeah. And we finish up with her teacher and she goes, it was nice to meet you. I will see you tomorrow after I eat my free breakfast. Now look, listen, the only thing my daughter is concerned about, okay, is that free breakfast. Okay. So this year, no matter what your financial situation is, the school has decided that the kids all over the district get free lunch and breakfast. Maggie is here for it. I don't know what this girl's deal is, but she snatched one of those menus off that table so fast and she was just like, oh, Mommy, they have bagels this year. Mommy, they have salad this year. And I'm like, oh, sweet Lord. Like the only thing she cares about, or she did care about, was the free breakfast and the free lunch. And I'm like, you act like I'm a bad cook. She goes, but Mommy, this is out of the house cooking. I get to eat out every day. And I'm like, okay, I can see that. I can see that. So I was like, well, it's a meal that I'm going to feed you. So that's already got me excited. And then as we were leaving, she heard a familiar voice and I was looking on a paper outside of her teacher's classroom. And I was just like, hold up, Maggie, what's Abigail's last name? And the little girl, Abigail, walks up. She goes, whatever her last name is, because that ain't none of y'all business. And I was like, oh, Abby. Now, if you don't remember, Abby was Maggie's best friend in school. Maggie essentially helped teach Abby English. And Abigail, essentially taught Maggie how to read a little bit. So they were the best of friends when Maggie went to school. But when Maggie went to homeschool, Abigail didn't follow. Abigail went to regular school. So Maggie hasn't seen her in over a year. So Maggie is like all in her feelings. She's jumping up and down with Abby. And luckily enough, Abby had a mask on. And I was like, oh, how's it going, girl? And she's like, good. We get to go to school together this year. I'm like, oh yeah, who's your teacher? And she has the exact same teacher as Maggie. And I'm like, Maggie, at that moment, I went, Maggie is going to be just fine. Well, then right as they're talking to the kids, I'm talking to Abby's parents. And this little girl comes up and she's like hiding behind her dad. And she's like, you could tell she had been crying. And Maggie and Abby go over to the little girl and they go, what's wrong? And I couldn't hear the rest of their conversation, but apparently the little girl is new to the school. And Maggie and Abby wanted to welcome her to the class. So they welcomed her to class and let her, like, they walked her around and they showed her where the lunchroom was. And I'm like, Maggie used to have this streak where she was shy, Okay. She wouldn't talk to anybody or anything. Now, Maggie is like, forget that. I don't got time for it. I'm getting free lunch and breakfast. I need to speak. I need to make myself heard. So if nothing else, Maggie got in that year and some change that she was home, it was how to actually be confident enough to speak to other kids. I am over the moon excited about that because I want my children to be confident. Orion played me though, because he tried the confidence thing with me last night. And he goes, I don't want my hair cut. Now, Orion never wants his hair cut, okay? Never wants his hair cut. And I'm like, why don't you want your hair cut? Because he goes, it's like a helmet. It makes me feel more confident. And when he said that, he knew I wasn't going to tell him he had to get his hair cut. So I was like, fine, don't get your hair cut. I don't care. Walk around looking like who done it. And he goes, well, who done it? I'm like, I don't know, who done it? And he's like, well, what's that mean? Figure it out. Like, he be asking questions to which I don't have the answers. And I'm like, go talk to your daddy. And then if Mr. Coffee's not home, go call Paw, ask Paw who done it is. Because he's been asking me who done it is my whole life. And I still don't know who that dude is. And he's just like, Mom, a lot of the stuff you say makes no sense. I am aware of this. We're not going to talk about it. And he's like, okay. So, yeah. So the kids, I think they're going to have a great first day of school. Me, on the other hand, nay. Since they've been gone, I lost the dog. I locked myself out of the house. And I almost stepped on a ferret. It's been a rough morning for me. I'm discombobulated without my children. Now, I am the definition of helicopter parent. I want to be in my kids' face at all times. Because I feel like they can't get hurt if I'm in their face. Now, can this last forever? No. Would it have lasted forever? No. Do my kids drive me crazy like everybody else's kids and I'm not a perfect parent and I have good days and bad days? Yes. Because I know a lot of times when I tell people, like, you know, I'm worried about my kids going back to school with the virus and they're like, oh, you're such a good mom. Not always. There's sometimes I'm a bad mom, like how I forgot to give them their medicine this morning before they left for school because everybody was so excited to leave that I was just like, oh, okay, we can just leave. I even sat at Maggie's school for a whole 20 minutes waiting for her to get her doors open so that she could go inside her school to get her free breakfast. And then I'm sitting here crying for like 20 minutes after I get back. And then I realized, oh, snap, I didn't give anybody their medicine. I didn't sit out anybody's medicine. Luckily for me, Orion doesn't need his medicine during the day. Orion's meds are actually aimed, they're supposed to be administered at night. So his medicine is fine if he doesn't get it throughout the day. Plus, he can just come home from school and get it after he gets home from school. No big deal. But Maggie, on the other hand, Maggie will have an episode if she does not have her medication. So I was like, oh, crap. That lady's going to end up having to deal with Maggie with a seizure on the first day. And she asked Maggie to please take it easy on her for the first day. And she goes, Maggie's just like, okay. I'm like, Maggie, that's not a challenge. Like, Maggie said okay like that, like she was giving her a challenge. And I'm like, that's not a challenge. Hi, Gumball. So, I had to get up, clean my face up, clean myself up, go up to the school. I was that parent with the rollers and the robe on with the slippers. And I'm like, I forgot her meds. Except for I had on sweatpants, a t-shirt, a jacket, flip-flops, and a hat. And I was like, she forgot her meds. Y'all, I'm a hot mess without my kids. But I get up to the school, they buzz me in, they go, Miss Tepper, are you okay? I'm like, no, I forgot Maggie's meds. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll call her. We think she's in library. Here she was in library reading with her class. And she got mad because I called her out of library and the story was just getting good. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but you forgot to take your life-saving meds. You might want to do that. And she's like, oh yeah, the meds. So she takes her meds and she goes, all right, you can go home now. Bye. And then she just runs back down the hallway to class. And I'm like, bye, Maggie. Y'all, I'm so sad. I'm so sad for my kids. It's been a rough day. It is currently like noon. And I'm like, 3 more hours. I'm like sadly like emptying the ferret cage and cleaning it out because every day with the ferret cage, I take all, because there's a lot of there's a lot of puppy pads in their cage, and then they have like a litter box in the like the second level and the last level. And so I clean out the litter boxes, I spray them down with spray, I wipe them clean, and then I refill them with fresh litter. I wipe down the trays, even though they have the puppy pads, I still wipe down the trays. I shake out their blankets to make sure there's no food or anything in them, and I set their cage back up while they're out playing. Well, are you in that box? I hear scratching. I think she got herself stuck in the box again. So I cleaned out the ferret cage, and one of my neighbor friends was like, hey, could you come outside? I could really use a friend. And I'm like, sure, I'll come outside. And so I went outside and was talking to her. Well, took the dogs outside with me because she has the floofs. So I took the dogs outside, talked to her for a little bit, go back in the house. Here, Killian's leash dropped out of my hand, but I was so preoccupied with my phone. This is why you should pay attention, okay? I was so preoccupied with my phone, I didn't notice that Killian ran off. I go in the house, I put the leash up on the thing. I am still looking at my phone, but I put the leash up on the thing, and I'm like, all right. Again, y'all, I swear, this girl wakes up and chooses violence. She turned on, okay, so another gift I got for my birthday is a RoboVac. It's one of those robo vacuums that goes by itself. It has the remote control and stuff that goes with it. Anais has made it her personal life mission to throw hands with this RoboVac. And essentially right now it's winning because it has like little sweepers on the front of it so that when it's going through the whatever, it has like the little sweepers that come out to sweep dirt and stuff into the vacuum. Well, she keeps putting her face on it and standing on it and turning it on. And then she's trying to ride it through the house, and I'm like, Anais, that's not gonna fly, sweetie. We're not doing this. And so like every once in a while she'll get quiet, and you're like, okay, where does she go? Once they get quiet, like kids, once they get quiet, search for them often. So Gumball isn't necessarily as mischievous as Anais is. Anais makes it her personal life mission to get into any and all things. Dealing with getting in trouble. So yeah, she keeps throwing hands with my blanket as well. I have a heated blanket that y'all might have seen sitting on my lap, that gray and black one. Well, she keeps throwing hands with it because it has a cord, and she wants the cord, of course, and I won't give her the cord, so I detach the part that goes into the wall so she can't get the cord. Well, now she keeps just rolling herself in the blanket trying to find the cord, and I keep having to get her out because she gets herself stuck in there, and I'm like, will you knock it off? Look, listen, every morning she wakes up, she chooses violence. Right now, she literally just took and dumped out a bunch of food out of the bowl over there so she could eat it off the puppy pad instead of eating it out of the bowl. Why? I don't know. That's just how she likes to eat her food. She will scrape it out of the bowl till it lands on the floor, and then she'll just eat it off the floor. And before somebody says, is the bowl up too high? No. It's high enough that she can get herself half into it to scrape all the food out of it and then eat it off the floor. So I'm just like, whatever, as long as you're eating it, I don't care. So yeah, so there's that. But when I came back in the house earlier, it took me a good 2 minutes before I realized, hold up, where's Killian? Killian, meanwhile, is sitting on the porch, not saying anything. He's just laying on the porch, and my Ring doorbell goes off to tell me that there's motion on the porch. I turn the Ring doorbell on, and there's Killian laying on the front porch. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, Killian, this ain't the Flintstones. Get your tail in here. What you doing? Look, listen. Apparently, at some point, I must have dropped his leash and didn't realize it. I am so discombobulated without my children. And then, after I go to take Maggie her meds, I locked myself out of the house because I forgot that my key was in my purse. And I didn't take the purse with me because I was just rushing out of the house. And I thought I left the door unlocked. But I forgot, these doors automatically lock, no matter whether you have the deadbolt on or not. They automatically lock. So I was like, oh, crap. Locked myself out of the house because my keys are in my purse to get into the house. And we have key cards. We don't have, like, actual keys. So I'm like, oh, god dang it. How am I going to... And then I remembered I hide a key in the garage. So I got the hidden key, and I opened the door, and I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, geez. So it's been a rough morning for me. I'm not doing well. I should not be unsupervised. I'm pretty sure that if I tried to cook something right now, I'd burn the house down. So I'm just going to stay in this little corner today for the next 3 hours and diamond paint and then try to enjoy the peace and quiet. I'm actually even taking the day off tomorrow, so there will be no video for tomorrow. I want to take a day and be able to clean the house and not have to worry about editing a video and getting it up and everything. So I will be taking off Wednesday to do that. So hopefully you guys won't, you know, freak out too much with one video. Plus, I don't have anything for What You Got Wednesday. So I really don't like putting other things in its place. So I'm just going to take the day off and relax and try to get out of my head mentally. Honestly, mentally, I'm not in the best place because I think the worst. Like, I'm preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. And I really want to get out of that mindset. So, like, I want to take the day and just, like, I wasn't going to do it today because today's whip and chat day and we can't be missing whip and chat day. And I have a ferret over here messing with my Faber-Castell color pencils. Anais, you cannot have the color pencils, girl. What is you doing with your life? Anywho. They're in a case, don't worry. She's pushing it around the craft room. So, which just has to be so weird for y'all because I keep stopping to talk to them and you're just like, I don't see anything that you're talking to. Meanwhile, I literally am just over here fussing at her because she keeps getting into things. Meanwhile, Gumball's over there making a mess with the food. She made a mess and then he just goes over and helps her make more of a mess and then she leaves and comes over here and starts messing with stuff. It's a hot mess, y'all. Again, it's like having 2 little babies in the house. They're like toddlers. Anywho, but mentally, I'm not in the best of places right now. And like the stuff with YouTube that I have going on and the kids going back to school is just a lot. And this is the first year also that Maggie and Orion were separated. I would feel a little bit better if they were together. But I know that that's not something that, you know, they're not always going to be together. But I'm not used to separating them either because, you know, they've been together since birth. They have the same father, so I usually keep them together. When they do things, they've always been together. So this is the first time that they have independence away from each other. And in a way, I kind of like it because it does teach them to be a little bit more independent. But in another way, I'm just like, my babies! Now, I know they can't stay babies for long, but just a little bit longer. Can they stay little? Like, they grow so fast. And, like, I feel like yesterday Maggie was born and Orion was toddling around the house, like giving her kisses and everything. And now they're like fighting each other and she's pushing him off the dinner table chair and she's stepping on him and he's trying to get away. Which, does anybody else have a child that sounds like a siren when they scream? And I'm not talking about like the kids like, ah, ah. No. It's a different type of siren. So all kids are sirens, okay? I'm thoroughly convinced that all children are some type of siren, whether it be hurricane siren, tornado siren, flood siren, some type. Orion is a tornado siren. Why do I say this? So I noticed with my son that he has this bad habit of when he gets scared or when Maggie and him are playing, he makes this weird noise, which he thinks is a scream. It really literally sounds like the tornado sirens that go off here at noon on Wednesdays. All you hear is, I'm like, okay, I don't know whether that's a fire, an ambulance, or if you're warning us of a tornado, or what exactly you're doing. But whatever it is, it's loud as hell, and we're going to have to ask you to stop. And he's like, she's hitting me! And that's just how he screams. And I'm just like, don't ever get beat up because literally they'd find the culprits in 2.35 seconds. Before they have a chance to run, somebody would be there because how loud and screechy it is. And I'm like, I wonder what kind of siren everybody else's kids are because like Orion legit turns into a tornado siren. Maggie is an ambulance because she likes to whine. So we call her the wambulance. She's a wambulance. But Orion is a whole tornado alarm. Like, he's the tornado alert. Like, I can't with this kid. Anyways. So, yeah. So, the coffee house is a little discombobulated right now. Luckily for me, Mr. Coffee's boss is allowing him to take Orion to school in the morning so he doesn't miss breakfast. Because if I have to take both of them, one of them would be, like, only able to eat breakfast for, like, 10, 20 minutes. And so we decided that Mr. Coffee was going to take Orion and I would take Maggie. which is great because Maggie's class or Maggie's school is like right down the street. And then we gave them the option of who gets to get picked up first, because I was going to pick up Orion first, then come back for Maggie because it's on the way home. But Orion was like, nay, you pick up Maggie first and then come pick me up. So I was like, all right, bet. So they're excited. They were excited this morning. I put on a brave face for them so they weren't scared to go to school. They were very happy, very eager to get started with their school year. And mommy's just over here like, my babies. Like y'all, look. Y'all think I'm extra when it comes to like life in general. When it comes to my kids, I get super extra, and I'm super extra in my feelings today, and I don't like it because I'm not usually an emotional person, but today I am, and I don't like it at all. I want to sit here and just do nothing all day, and I think that's essentially what I'm going to do. Besides this video, like, that's all I'm going to do today. I'm just going to sit and enjoy doing nothing because it's been almost 2 years since I've been kid-free, and I don't like it, but I'm going to have to figure out a way to deal with it and make the best out of it, because if they're making the best out of going back to school, then I will make the best out of them not being home. Orion, essentially, he only missed homeschool because he knew he would be done by 1 o'clock. He could stay in his jammies all day, and then he would be done by 1 o'clock so he can get on his video games. And usually he'd get on his video games between between 3 and 5, get off to eat dinner, take a shower, and then he might get back on them depending on what time it was. But usually his Xbox Usually his Xbox gets turned off at like 8:30. So, unless it's a special occasion or like the last couple of days of school, I let him play for essentially as long as he wanted to, and then he still ended up down here most of the day anyways. So, yeah, Maggie's eager to go get free lunch and breakfast and make new friends, and I'm happy that she's in a state of, like, she's so freaking excited. Like, it was so scary how excited she was this morning, and like I said, she was so excited she didn't even remember to take her freaking medicine, so I was just like, all right, bet. But I'm hoping for the best with them with this school year. It's going to be rough on all of us, mostly me, probably only me. Mr. Coffee, he's like cool as a cucumber about this. He's just like, if something happens, we'll deal with it. If it doesn't, then, you know, they had a good school year. But there's no point in worrying yourself to death about something that may happen. If, you know, what if it doesn't happen? I'm like, but what if it does? I want to be prepared. And he's like, I don't think freaking out is going to prepare you if something happens. And I'm like, it'll make me feel better. God dang it. Or Mr. Coffee doesn't understand this concept. So, yeah. All right. I had to do a head count because, you know, you can't just not pay attention. Anyways. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm making the best of a bad situation, I guess. But the kids are happy. Mr. Coffee is on guard, essentially. And I'm just kind of mopey today. So, like, I think a day off would do me some good. Also, this week, like I was saying, sorry. Also, this week, I plan on cleaning the house up really good while the kids are gone, getting it all nice and sanitized and everything else while the kids are out at school. I think that's what I need. I need a good cleaning day, and I think I'm going to spend tomorrow doing that. I want to spend the day just cleaning my house and enjoying the peace and quiet. I hate it though. I hate it because I keep thinking that the kids are here, and like, of course, when kids are quiet, it's never a good thing. But now I don't have to worry about that because the ferrets, when they're quiet, it's never a good thing. So you just gotta be on high alert, I guess, all the time. And I was shocked to see how many of you guys have actually either owned ferrets or have ferrets, and I'm just like, I'm here for it. It was kind of how do I want to say it? It was a last minute purchase. Like, it was a last, like, you know, we went into the store, so I guess it was like a fly by the seat of your pants type purchase. But I'm happy we made it. I love having the ferrets in the house, and it'll be something that keeps me busy while the kids are gone. So, like, I'm here for it, and they seem to be happy with all the running around, and we did acclimate them to the dogs this week. That's where I was going with that. So we let the dogs come back here to see what they would do and how they would react. Killian, we kept having to let him know, put the ferret down. Put the ferret down. because Killian, again, thinks that they're puppies, and he wants to like cradle them in his arms. So he will grab one and then lay down with it. Like he'll scruff it, lay down with it, and then just sit there and lick it and let it fall asleep with him, which is usually Gumball. Anais is not about cuddling. She's not the cuddler. I'm learning that, from what I've been reading, boys are a lot more laid back than girls. And I'm like, yep, I can totally see it. I totally see it. But the dogs seem to have done great with them. Daisy doesn't seem to care anymore. She's just kind of like, whatever. Killian is the one that still is just kind of like, he's playing like father of the year over here. And he keeps thinking that he has to come and like try to keep up with them. And by the end of the night, everybody's exhausted. Like Killian will be just laying out in the middle of the floor, like sleep with his mouth open because he's so tired from running after the ferrets. So everybody is adjusting well. Everybody in the house is doing good, except for like, you know, this little bit of mommy freaking out because her kids are back at school. But for the most part, everybody's still doing good. But yeah, so I think I am going to spend next week. I'm going to spend tomorrow cleaning and giving myself a little bit of a break. I need a break. Mama needs a break. And I don't know what to do with my kids not home. So I'm just like, clean up. That always makes you feel better. So I go clean up. Does anybody else clean up when they're feeling like sad? Like, I know a lot of people are just like, clean up. That's not something that's relaxing. It is for me for some reason. It is for me. So like, I'm going to clean and enjoy the house being clean for about 20 minutes until I go get the kids. And then, yeah, pandemonium will strike. And I'm pretty sure at some point I'll get used to them going to school. It's just hard right now because they just left for school. So yeah. But yeah, I totally don't think I'm supposed to be unsupervised because like Mr. Coffee keeps checking in on me. He's like, are you okay? I am not. Like, he messaged me when I was outside. I'm like, I locked myself out. Well, that was fun. Killian apparently thought that it was time to take one of the ferrets, and he took one out of the playpen and went to his crate. This is what I mean by you got to stay on guard. So I put the ferrets away so that they could take a nap, because it is about time for them to take a nap. They'll come back out when the kids come home, and the kids will be excited to play with them. So yeah, I'm excited to hear how the kids' first day with school went. And they were telling the vet lady yesterday that Orion was saying he wasn't excited for school. Maggie, of course, the only thing she said was, I get free lunch and breakfast. I don't know why that's such a contingent thing with Maggie, like why that's a thing, but whatever makes her happy, right? Right. So, yeah, so next week, I'm thinking we should be done with this next week. It shouldn't take me that long to finish this. But I don't know about you, but I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over looking at this canvas. I'm so sick of looking at this canvas. Oh my God. I just want it to be done. And I want to start Bubblegum Girl from Bella Safina. That will definitely be my next kit, is that Bubblegum kit. I only have, 2 colors left to finish on the kit from Tmall. And then I'm going for the Bella Safina. And you won't see the kit from Tmall until it's done. I'm very curious to see what that kit looks like done, because it is gorgeous right now. And it's just mostly like, I got most of the rainbow done except for I think blue and yellow. So I'm anxious to see what that kit's going to look like. And then I'm going to pull out that Bella Safina and work on it, because, oh my God, that kit, you guys, oh my God. Plus, I need to see how her quality is. And then I'll probably, after that one, I may or may not work on that areola kit. I'm trying to slow down the spending so that I can actually get through some of these kits instead of just buying them. Because it's fun to buy them. But y'all might want to see what some of them look like done. I'm just saying. So I'm just like, maybe I should slow down on buying some of the kits and maybe just like work on some of them. Problem is, I keep working on all these big kits that take me forever to finish. Now, this one is just for the DP Along, which if you didn't join the DP Along, we end the DP Along on August 31st. That will be the end of the DP Along with me and Rachel Ray. And we both should be done with our kits by then, because Rachel has about the same amount of kit left to get done that I do. So, yeah, it's just been harder for me to work on it because of the new ferrets, kids going back to school. I was very happy because their school clothes, I bought them last minute. which was a bad idea, but it turned out to go well because they ended up, like, their school clothes weren't supposed to come in until today, and they came in yesterday, so I was like, yay. So they were as ready about school to be, they were as ready for school as they were going to be. So they already had all their school supplies, and they got their school shoes and clothes, and they were ready. So I hope to be done with this kit next week. I'm going to probably finish that T-Mall kit for my birthday. My birthday is next Monday, and I don't have any plans. I don't usually plan things for my birthday. Not that I'm expecting my husband to, because yet no, that's not happening. But I don't do plans for my birthday just because, one, the best thing that you can do for me for my birthday is let me sit in the house. Because look, listen, I don't want to leave the house. Yesterday was the first time I had been around a crowd of people. And surprisingly, I didn't freak out or anything, but I was in one of those moods where I was like, don't talk to me, don't mess. And I'm pretty sure all of Orion's teachers think I'm some moody, like, because I wore my mask and my sunglasses the entire time that I was in the school. And I didn't even realize I had the sunglasses still on because my sunglasses are prescription. And my old prescription still, like, works with me. Like, I can still see out of them. And so I was wearing the sunglasses and didn't realize I never took them off. And I was like, oh crap, I never took the sunglasses off. Mr. Coffee will let me walk around looking like who done it and won't say a word. I'm like, why didn't you tell me I still had the sunglasses on? He goes, I thought you could just feel them on your face. Well, no. And he's like, well, I'm sorry. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Also, I gotta keep an eye on Killian now. Killian has been suffering with a cough. It's very odd when a dog coughs, and like I had to call the vet to check to make sure that this wasn't a side effect from his new meds, because he's now on fish oil as well, because apparently it boosts the zinc. So he had gone on fish oil, and since he's been on the fish oil, he's been coughing. So the vet is asking me, can you describe the cough? Now, y'all already know Miss Coffee is the best at describing things. So I was just like, it sounds like my dog's been a 20-year smoker of Newport Light 100s for the last 20 years, and he just decided to quit. Or it sounds like my dog has been smoking his entire life, and he woke up in the morning with the smoker's cough. And the nurse lady is like, so raspy? I'm like, exactly. Like, I feel like I speak another language, but for the most part, people understand what I'm saying. Because when I said that, she was like, so raspy? Yeah, like raspy. It's a raspy cough. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, sure. Anything about, yeah, that word. So, they were like, just keep an eye on it. If it gets worse, if he starts vomiting or whatever, let us know. It sounds like the fish oil is having one of the side effects, which is coughing. And it's not bad. It only happens like a couple times a day, but it legit sounds like he's been a smoker of Newport 100 Light Ultras for like his entire life. Like, he sounds like he just woke up in the morning after a long night of studying or something, and he's just been chain smoking all night. It's weird when he does it, because I always think he's going to get sick, and then he doesn't, and then he just kind of looks at me like, what? And I'm like, dude, okay, whatever. Today is supposed to be really hot. And it's funny because Orion asked for this year, instead of getting him jeans, he asked for all sweatpants for his new clothes. So I got him all sweatpants, and I'm like, you ain't gonna want to wear them today, buddy. And he goes, why not? I'm like, because it's supposed to be 100 degrees outside today. I feel bad though, because even though it's 100 degrees, he has shorts on. But I feel bad because it's supposed to be 100 degrees, and they don't have a gymnasium in the school right now that Orion's in. And so like all his PE classes will be held outside. And I'm like, look, listen, it's 100 degrees outside. Y'all really going outside? They really are going outside. So I was like, all right, whatever. Y'all know what's best, I guess. Don't let my kid die of heat stroke outside. So he at least had shorts on. So I'm glad I talked him out of wearing the sweatpants. But from tomorrow on, it's supposed to be in the 60s here. What is happening? See, I told Jin in her live the other day that she brought up the S word, and now the S word is coming for me. It's hunting me down, and I'm like 60 degrees, and all I can think of, it's going to snow next week. Watch. It's going to do it. It's going to snow. Watch. And I just, the last couple of days have been so smoky outside that it's messing with everybody's allergies. Now, me and Mr. Coffee and Maggie don't have allergies, but Orion does. So luckily we have an air purifier in the house, so it's not affecting him too bad. And plus, Orion ain't going outside voluntarily anyways. So I don't have to worry about it messing with his allergies too much. But it's been really smoky here because of all the wildfires and stuff. Like, it was really bad Saturday and Sunday. Like, it smelled like the house next to me was on fire. It was so bad. And I'm like, you could legit smell the smoke, and you couldn't see, like, it was such a hazy day because of all the fog from the smoke. And I'm just like, is this supposed, like, I kept thinking, like, is this supposed to rain today? Like, what is going on? And then I realized, oh no, that's not like clouds. That's smoke. Our sun has been orange for the last 3 days. Today's the first time I actually seen a yellow sun, and it's not even out as much as it normally is. So I'm just like, oh God. So yeah, it's just the weather here has been crazy. It's about to get even crazier. And then, well, I think, what do they say? Friday and Saturday it's supposed to rain all day, and I'm like, I'm not excited about this. These temperatures are like very, very depressing. So I'm hoping that I have nothing extravagant to do besides like pick up the kids, which I don't want to buy my kids umbrellas because nobody ever really buys umbrellas. You just borrow them essentially from the universe, because I don't remember the last time I bought an umbrella, but I know I've always had an umbrella, whether like somebody leaves it in my car or some. Well, speaking of car, I gotta check how much gas I got in my car. I keep forgetting. I never use my freaking car, and now that I have to use it, I gotta remember, I gotta actually put gas in the car. Sorry, that was a tangent. I just thought about that because Mr. Coffee told me to check it the other day because he realized that my registration was out, and he goes, your registration's been out for 2 months. Oops. He goes, hold up, didn't you get your registration? I did. I bought the registration. Problem is I need to change the address on it, and I just never changed the address. So I had the registration, so I just signed it and put it in the car, and I was like, well, the registration's up to date. Just got to update. I got to figure out how to update the address on it. But I'll get that taken care of sooner or later. Anyway. But anyways, yeah, so just the weather here has been crazy. I don't know what it's like everywhere else, but I know we've been dealing with like the smoke, and it's just been awful. Like just going to walk the dogs, my throat has been on fire. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is awful. So like, y'all stay safe out here in these crafty streets. It's getting dangerous out there. But I'm not going to hold you guys up any longer. I got stuff I need to get done. And again, don't worry, Miss Coffee will be fine. It's going to just take me a little bit to adjust. I am just going to sit with my thoughts. So yes, but I'm going to cut this one short here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave those down in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. But with that said, I must now bid you adieu. But not before reminding you that if you're in one of these places that's experiencing this extreme heat wave, please stay hydrated. Drink your water, girl. Yes. But with that said, I must really bid you adieu. But not before reminding you, stay safe. Wear your mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face, keep your 6 feet, and always try to be kind, be courteous, be cool. Bye, guys.